All right. Hello, everyone. We are so glad that you could join us here for this very special webinar. I am Missy Passmore, your South Plains College Alumni Coordinator. I personally have been working with our guest speaker today, and let me just tell you guys, she's different. And I am so excited to have her with us today. And I really hope that you guys will benefit from what she has to say and just enjoy this time today. So without further ado, I am going to introduce you to Miss Suzi B. Suzi B is the author and co-founder of Life Conscious, the system that teaches how simplicity and habits are the key to a happy and successful life, present and future. She is a wife, a mom of 4, travel lover, adventure seeker, and happiness obsessor. She combines her work as a personal trainer with her research of habits and helps busy women and moms create their ideal lives by harnessing the power of habits. So Suzi, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for inviting me. This will be fun. All right, you guys. So yeah, I thought I would just introduce myself a little bit. Like Missy just said, let me pull up something really quick here. I'll share my screen with you so you can get a visual of kind of who I am and what I do here. Like she said, my name is Suzi B. I am a podcaster and a speaker. And first of all, I'm a mom, and that's my #1 role. And I'm also married to my very best friend. And I just spend a lot of my life seeking happiness. I've decided that that is one of my main goals in life, is to find what makes me happy and how I can spend the maximum amount of my time and effort chasing that happiness or attracting that happiness, however you would like to look at it in your life. So my background is in personal training, and I started as a personal trainer, and it all began when I just decided that I really, really love working with people to change the way that they see their bodies. Our bodies are absolutely amazing machines, and we are all blessed in the fact that we have one, and we have one that's different than all the other bodies out there. So that's where my background comes from, is I just want to help people to understand and love and fuel their bodies well so that their bodies will treat them well in return. I also have a podcast called the Habits and Humor Podcast. And on this show, we use funny and embarrassing stories to teach amazing life lessons that will help you to take small daily actions that make a big difference in your life. Today, you'll get a little preview of what that show is like, as I'm going to share one of my classic embarrassing moments with you guys today to teach you a valuable lesson that I hope will be applicable to your life. One major aspect that I like to use is called life conscious. This is the concept that I have come up with that basically is the philosophy behind the way that I live my life. So before we start, we're going to just play a little game. Wherever you are, I want you to act out. I'm going to say a word, and I want you to act out whatever it is that comes to mind first. So when I say this word, I want you to just do the thing that comes to your mind. The word is conscious. You probably either opened your eyes a little wider, maybe you sat up a little bit straighter, or a myriad of different things that you could have done that basically show that you are awake. The word conscious generally brings us to some sort of awake or aware way of living and way of being, state of being. So now I'm going to say another word. That was the warm up. So now you're warmed up, you're ready to go. The next word is unconscious. How do you act out the word unconscious? Some of you probably pretended to sleep. Some of you probably closed your eyes. Maybe you wanted to lay down or whatever. Unconscious then is the opposite of conscious. That is the act of being unaware and not awake. And generally speaking, things happening under the surface that we are not in control of. So if conscious is being awake and aware, and unconscious is being asleep, then life conscious is the act of living your life awake and aware, with your eyes wide open and you being in control, you being in charge of what is going on in the world around you. That is what I want you to understand today. And that is the attitude toward your life that I want to help you adopt over the next few minutes. So I will just tell you where this concept came from and why it means so much to me, and why I have decided to spend time and effort in my life to teach this message to other people, just like you guys today. like I said, my name is Suzi and I'm married to my best friend. I've got 4 fantastic kids. We love to spend time outside together. I love doing anything active or fitness related. And I am an author. I have a published book called Life Conscious, of course. And yeah, I really, really love spreading this message because it is so simple and it is so life-changing. It absolutely changed the way that I see the world and the way that I live my life. So to give you the background on where it came from, I told you before that I started my journey early on with a deep, deep love of the human body. And I absolutely am unquenchably fascinated by the human body. I can't get enough. I've studied it since I was 12 years old, and I continually study it now. It is such a magnificent creation that we all get to have and get to use every single day. So that's where I started, and I got my degree in health education, and I became a certified personal trainer back in 2009. And as a personal trainer, when I opened my own personal training business, I started something called the 60-day challenge. I found that the hardest time of year for my clients to stay on board with their health habits was the holiday season between October 31st, Halloween, and New Year's Day. That 60-day period tends to be very frustrating for a lot of us when it comes to staying on track with our healthy habits. Winter's coming around for lots of us, and it's a time where there's lots of family, lots of parties, lots of treats around, and it tends to just be a more difficult time of year to prioritize our health goals. So I created this program to help my clients get through this time with 2 things in mind. The program is called Healthy and Happy. You can see it right here in the background behind me. Healthy and happy, meaning I want you to be able to be healthy and enjoy your life at the same time. So I created this program where we could do these simple daily tasks that would help us to maintain our health and keep our healthy habits in focus, while at the same time, we allowed ourselves to be able to live our lives. We didn't eliminate sugar. We didn't eliminate anything. We just learned how to modify and how to prioritize what was most important. The results during the program were fantastic. We all stayed on track and we all kept each other accountable, and we made some great relationships with each other, because anytime you go through something difficult with someone else, you form a bond. And we all stayed on track. And throughout this entire season, we proved to ourselves, we gained that confidence that we could, in fact, do both of those things, be healthy and happy simultaneously, especially during this very challenging time of year, this very busy time of year. And during the program, it was great. But when the program ended is when the magic really happened. We'd stopped being accountable. We'd stopped tracking these things. We'd stopped even talking to each other about it. But the results kept happening. We kept on doing these habits every single day. For the most part, we didn't become perfect or robots or anything, but for the most part, we kept continuing these habits in our daily lives without even thinking about it. It was absolutely fascinating. So I jumped into research mode, and I had to figure out how to replicate these results and how to make this happen again, how I could make this program into something that would be a repeatable process. So I tested it and I tried it for about a period of 10 years. And I really, really honed in on what worked and what didn't, and what the most effective habits were, what time of year, what length, what period of time, all of those kind of variables that I could test. I tested everything I could, and the data showed what was most effective. And so I turned that into a program. And I ran this with my personal training clients. It was very successful and it was very fun, and I enjoyed it very much. And then in 2017, I had my 4th baby. And after I had him, something changed. I don't know how to describe it other than I felt like I lost my connection with myself. I no longer felt like me. The things that made me happy for my entire life up to this point no longer did. I've always been an optimist and a very motivated person, and I felt like I had lost all of that. I didn't want to do anything. And it was incredibly frustrating. And for over a year, I just dealt with this. I just lived like this. And I thought, well, I guess this is the way things are now. And finally, I was telling my cousin about this, and she's like, you have postpartum depression. And I'm like, no, I don't. I'm great. My baby and I, we have a great connection, and I don't feel sad ever. And she's like, it doesn't have to manifest in those 2 ways. Anger can be part of it, feeling disconnected from yourself. Any disconnect that you have that's different after you had your baby could very well be postpartum depression. She's like, what do you have to lose? Just go talk to somebody and see. So I finally did, and I went to see a doctor, and They're like, yes, absolutely. That's what's going on here. You have a chemical imbalance in your mind then, and your mental health needs to be your number one focus right now. And so on the way home from that doctor's appointment, I consider this to be divine intervention. I was inspired to try my 60-day program, but instead of on physical health habits, which I had been doing for many years before, I decided to try it on my mental health habits. So I went home and I sat down and I set some mental health goals for myself and used the same program, the same accountability process where I'm being accountable to myself on these same daily tasks, these same daily habits every single day over the period of 60 days. You guys, the results were unbelievable. I say that Life Conscious came to life because it brought me back to life. It absolutely, it's amazing. Every time I think about it, I just am so grateful that I was inspired to do this because it completely changed me. It brought me back to life. It brought me back to my happiness, to my state of being able to do anything. I got all of my mojo back, all my motivation back. And of course, I had to know what had just happened and why it happened. So I jumped back into the research and I became obsessed with habit formation, how the conscious mind works, how the subconscious mind works, and how those two tend to fight you. I'm going to teach you guys a little bit about how your brain tends to fight you unless you know how to harness those two superpowers together. So once I figured this out, I thought, well, what else can I do this with? If I can do it with physical health habits and mental health habits, what else can I do it with? So I did it with my finances and I ran that for 2 months. And then I did it with my marriage and I ran that for 2 months. And then I did it with my family relationships, with my spirituality habits and with my parenting. And over the course of a year, I went from an incredibly dark, difficult year of my life to an incredibly empowered and happy year of my life. And I consider the only difference between those two states to be my habits. Habits absolutely changed everything for me. And the things that I set up for myself way back then, this was almost 5 years ago, 4 years ago. The things that I set up then, those habits that I created that back then are still serving me now. I'm not doing 100% of the things that I was doing then, but most of the time, those things happen and I don't even have to think about it. It's absolutely incredible. I'm going to teach you guys how to do that today. I'm going to teach you how to break it down so that what you want is what you do and who you are on autopilot. Then I'm going to teach you how to automate it so that these things can continue to happen without your focus, without your time, effort, and energy. You're going to be able to save time. You're going to be able to think about less and achieve more. It's absolutely phenomenal. I hope you can tell how passionate I am about this and how truly life-changing this information was for me. This experience was for me. So I published my book, Life Conscious, to tell the story and to sort of display the information that I received and the research and what it showed. And then the second half of the book is about how you can apply the process to 5 different areas of your life. And then I started my business and I started an online program and I created Healthy and Happy so that I turned it into an online program so that it would be massively accessible. I've been running it with my in-person clients for years, but now I'm able to do both health habits and other habits online so that anyone from anywhere in the world can access this life-changing program. So living life conscious is my secret to happiness. This absolutely prevents any sort of overwhelm or fatigue in my life. I often say that happiness, health, and success are as simple as 1, 2, 3. I break it down into a 3-step process so that it's easy for you to start right now. That's what I want you to focus on. 1, 2, 3. Step number 1 is your 1 pillar focus. I call these pillars, and I'll explain to you why in just a moment. But these are like the big goals of your life. These are the major aspects that make up who you are and the way that you live. I gave you some examples before: parenting, spirituality, your finances, your marriage, your business, your mental health, your physical health. These are big pillar goals. Or some of the bigger things that you want to work toward. Maybe you want to start a podcast. Maybe you want to go to college. Maybe you want to get a degree. Maybe you want to continue your education, get your your master's or your doctorate degree, things like that. And so just write down some of these things as you're coming through this process. I want you to actually write this stuff down if you can. If you're in a place where you can write it down, great. If not, just remember it and then write it down before you go to bed tonight. Think about some big pillar goals that you have in your life. What are some things that you want? Some things that you know are part of the way that you live, but you want to fortify those things. You want to really focus in and make those things happen on a whole different level for you. So all the things that you just thought of, these are all brilliant ideas. Maybe you said physical health, maybe you said mental, maybe you said you have a family relationship you want to work on. Maybe you have a child that you need to reconnect with, or a parent that you need to reconnect with. I used one of my blueprints I went through on a sibling relationship. And so there's many, many different goals that you have. So why am I asking you to only work on one? This tends to be one of the most counterintuitive pieces of this part of this process that people often struggle with. Well, if I have all of these beautiful ambitions, why can't I work on all of them? Let me just drop this phrase on you. You can have it all, but you can't have it all at once. You can achieve more by doing less. If you try to do everything at once, you're going to end up like this story here. So this is Washington, D.C. This is one of my favorite places in the universe. I absolutely love the feeling that is housed in this city. It makes me feel humble and grateful and empowered and powerful, and just all of the emotions that come with what these monuments stand for, and the legacies that these incredible people have left behind. And so I love this place, and my family and I, we went on vacation here back in 2010. And it was just my husband and I. We had only been married for a couple of years, and my mother-in-law came with us to help us with our 1-year-old daughter. We brought our 1-year-old as well. And so the three of us went to Washington, D.C. And when we rolled in, Hurricane Irene also rolled in at the same time. So the entire week we were there, it was absolutely pouring rain and just crazy winds. You can see these umbrellas down here that my husband and mother-in-law are holding that are just like flipped upside down. That was just within minutes of buying those things. Like, it was crazy madness. Anyways, we're there and in the pouring rain, and we found ourselves, we were going to not see the sights. I mean, we were there on vacation. So whether it was rain or shine, which it was never shine, it was always rain, we found ourselves at the Lincoln Memorial one day. We were going to see everything and see it all. We did, believe you me. Anyway, so one of the days we found ourselves at the top of the Lincoln Memorial. We had been wandering around in there and basking in the glow of that fantastic statue and everything that building stands for. The architecture of the building itself is unbelievable, but then the legacy and the feeling there, and I just love that place. So from the top of those stairs, if you look out, you can see for miles in every direction. It's absolutely beautiful. So we were here, and we found ourselves trying to avoid the rain. And so it had been pouring rain all day, and we had our daughter, and she was in a stroller. So we decided we were going to take the elevator back down to the ground level so that we could go on to the next place. But the line at the elevator was super long, and we're like, we don't want to wait. So we just decided to carry her down the stairs. And if you've ever taken a stroller down the stairs, you'll know that one person lifts up the front 2 wheels, and then the other person grabs the back 2 wheels, and you lift her up and carry her like an Egyptian empress in a caravan. So that's how we lifted her up. Or you can just take the baby out of the stroller and fold the thing up, but we didn't want to do that. So we lifted her up and we're carrying her down the stairs and we're going along. And a little backstory here, I happened to be in a flip-flop phase of life, and no matter what was going on around me, I always wore flip-flops. I just needed my feet to be free at this point, apparently. Anyway, so if you're doing the math, my arms are occupied. I'm wearing flip-flops and we're walking down marble stairs in the pouring rain. You got it absolutely right. I fall down the stairs, and in like a beautiful, glorious fall, because I couldn't even catch myself. My arms are occupied. So I saved the baby. She was just fine, but I fell all the way down, and I'm laying there in this soaking wet, on the stairs that are soaking wet. And like I said before, from the spot, you can see for miles in every direction, which also means everyone for miles in every direction can see you. And this is an incredibly busy place. There's hundreds, possibly thousands of people watching me fall down the stairs. So I fell, and I'm totally embarrassed, and I jump up as quick as I can, and my daughter's fine. And I'm like telling my husband, go, 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 go. I just want to get out of there, right? So we stand up and we're going again. I'm not kidding you. Not even 10 steps later, I fall down a second time. It was so funny. It was so embarrassing. So these same people are watching me not fall once, but fall twice. And so they come to my aid and they're asking me like, do you need help? Can I help you up? And I'm just beat red in the face, totally embarrassed, trying to just get out of there. So I asked my husband, I'm like, can you carry the stroller by yourself? Because I feel like our daughter is in danger if I try to help you here. And he's like, yeah, I got this. So he takes the stroller and he walks down the stairs like a human that can walk on 2 legs. And I'm following after him behind, like all by myself now. And I'm walking like I'm walking on shards of glass, making sure that every step is sure and I'm not going to fall again. And I'm almost to the bottom and there's maybe 15 stairs left. And you're going to think I'm exaggerating, but I've got 2 family members and thousands of perfect strangers who can back me up on the truthfulness of this part of the story. I fell a 3rd time, you guys. 3 times I fell on the same flight of stairs. But the 3rd time I didn't just fall. I didn't just like sit down on the step like I did on the first 2. I like bump all the way down to the bottom and just land in a heap in a puddle at the base of these stairs. So the same group of people watches this poor adult woman. I'm a grown adult woman fall down the same flight of stairs 3 times. It was phenomenal. So I tell you this story because it's hilarious, but also because I use pillars and steps as the visual for what I want you to create in your mind about your goals and your habits and what you want in life. So the first pillar that I want you to work on is one thing at a time. If you take on the entire building, remember this incredible architecture, look at all of those pillars, look at all of those steps. If those pillars each stand for one of those big pillar goals, one of those big aspects of your life, your faith, your finances, your family, your business, your mental health, your physical health, if you try to take on all of those things at once, you're going to fall down the stairs. You're going to set yourself up for failure, just like I did on that day in the rain. And it's going to be incredibly difficult for you to feel successful. It is incredibly, incredibly difficult to feel successful when you just keep falling, doing the same thing over and over again. You guys have been there. You've tried, maybe you sat down on January 1st and you made a humongous giant list of, I'm going to change everything this year. Haven't we all done this? And you think to yourself, I'm going to tackle it all and I'm going to go for it. And then within like 2 days, you're totally burned out. So what I want to encourage you to do today is to take on one at a time. Remember this 1, 2, 3 process. Step number 1 is one pillar, one focus at a time. When you choose one at a time, you give your incredible brain permission to go all in. So now let's talk about that incredible brain. One pillar focus. Step 2, 1, 2, 3. Number 2 is your 2 superpowers. You have 2 superpowers. You were born with everything you need to succeed. There's no product that you have to go out and buy. There's no class that you have to take. You just need to understand how to use your magnificent mind for your benefit instead of to sabotage yourself. So there's 2 parts of your incredible mind that I want to talk about today, your 2 superpowers. Your conscious mind, which is all of your daily efforts, all the things you think about, where you form opinions, where your to-do list lives, where anything you're thinking about, anything you're aware of, that's what's in your conscious. And then your subconscious is what happens in the background, what happens without your thought or effort or energy. This is blinking, breathing, your heart pumping, your body temperature regulation. All of these things happen without your thought or energy. When you go to drive your car, you automatically go to the place where you keep your keys. You don't think to yourself, okay, now go pick up the keys, now go get in the car. I mean, sometimes we have to do that, but most of the time, that's just an automated process that you've already created as a habit in your mind. When you go outside, you generally put on shoes before you leave the house. Sometimes that doesn't happen. I took my kids camping last week and 2 of them showed up with no shoes. Oh my word. Anyway, so this is what happens in your conscious and subconscious mind. If you learn how to combine these 2 superpowers together, your potential for growth and progress and success, no matter what aspect of your life we're talking about, becomes limitless and you become unstoppable. So how do we harness these 2 superpowers together? What do we need to do to connect our conscious and subconscious? Oftentimes we think of them as very separate pieces, and most of the time they do work separately, but there is a way to harness them together for your benefit. And that way is part number 3. One focus, 2 superpowers. Part number 3 is your 3 daily habits. Every single day, you're going to work on 3 things. 1, 2, 3. 3 daily tasks that all apply under that 1 pillar focus. So let me explain why we want them all to apply under 1 focus. If you decide to work on, let's say, your physical health, if you choose 3 habits that apply to that physical health pillar, then those 3 habits will help each other become easier as you go. So if your 3 habits are, you're going to get good sleep, you're going to drink 100 ounces of water, and you're going to exercise for 30 minutes a day. Let's say those are your 3 healthy habits. On the days that you exercise, you're naturally going to drink more water because you're going to be thirsty after your exercise. On the days that you exercise and drink more water, you're naturally going to get better sleep. And on the days that you get better sleep, you're naturally going to have more energy to exercise the next day. Do you see what I'm saying? These 3 habits are going to help you instead of spread your attention apart. Whereas if you were to attempt 3 habits in 3 different areas of your life, let's say you're working on your marriage and you're working on your parenting and you're working on paying off a debt, that requires your attention in 3 different places of your life, and your brain isn't sure where to focus. However, if you give it one main thing to focus on and 3 daily tasks that apply to that one focus, you set yourself up for fantastic success. And this can apply to anything in your life. I've used the example of health because that's my background, but let's say that you're doing it for, maybe you want to bring up your grades in college. This is at a university here we're talking about. So we'll talk about maybe your 1 pillar focus is you want to get a 4.0 GPA. Right now, you know that you need to work on your English papers. You need to bring your grades up on your English papers. You need to study more, and you need to create time for, maybe you just don't get enough sleep. So you set yourself a bedtime every day. You set yourself a time block to study more, and you hire a tutor to help you daily with your English papers. Those are 3 habits. And as you go along, that 1 pillar focus is going to become very, very powerful piece in your life. And I promise you, as you harness those 2 superpowers together, you're going to see long-term change. This isn't going to be something that you just do for a short period of time. That's the best part of the 1, 2, 3 habit system. You work on it for about 2 months. So let's go back to that piece number 2. Often, or most of the time, the research shows that 40 to 60 days is about where people start to solidify those habits from their conscious mind to their subconscious mind. That's where it starts to become automated and automatic so that you don't have to think about it anymore. So you're going to work on these things for 2 months, 2 months of your life. Think about how short of a time 2 months of your life is. And then after 2 months, these things will continue to happen for you. I told you the story of my clients and I doing it with the physical health habits. We're still doing those things today. That was 15 years ago. We worked on it for 2 months and it's been serving us for 15 years. Do you feel the power here? It's absolutely incredible what you are set up to do if you understand how to use your brain to your benefit. I'm going to give you a good visual for how you can understand how your brain works. Your brain is like a hot air balloon. Imagine a hot air balloon, that big, humongous balloon, and then this little tiny little basket at the bottom. In that little tiny basket is where all of the work, all of the conscious effort happens. Imagine that little basket, that gondola, is like your conscious mind. So that's where your work, that's where your effort, that's where your thought, where your intentions, where your actions take place. That's where, and on a hot air balloon, that's where all those things happen too. That's where the steering is. That's where the heat comes from. That's where all of the action has to happen in this little gondola. And once it happens in that gondola, what happens? It fills that entire humongous balloon with power, with the ability to lift you and carry you where you want to go. Your mind is the same way. If your subconscious is the big balloon and your conscious is the little gondola, you focus your time and effort and energy into this little piece, this little bit at a time, and it fills that entire space in your mind that allows you to be lifted and carried where you need to go automatically. That's the beautiful piece of this. We are only in charge of and in control of about 5% of our mind is only, the conscious part of our mind is only makes up about 5% of our brain. And people think that's the only piece that we control. But if you, on the other hand, use that 5% piece, that conscious mind, to fill up the subconscious, you unlock the next level of your life. You can control your subconscious mind, but it has to take consistent, focused effort for about 60 days, for about 2 months of time. And then you're going to be able to fill that piece of your mind. You're going to be able to fill your subconscious with skills and knowledge and habits and power that is going to help you elevate your life and make a difference in what you're doing. Hang on just a second. like I said, mom is my number one, my number one title. So I had to work my kiddo for a second there. Thank you for your patience. All right, so we figured out the 1, 2, 3 system. We figured out how our brain works like a hot air balloon. Now I want you to actually do it. I want you to take action. You can see on this slide here that I talk about how 3 habits is the minimum and 10 habits is the maximum. Over and over and over, then there are many, many studies that show that if you work on more than about 10 things at a time, if you're thinking about more than 10 tasks at a time, your conscious mind will overload and it won't be able to handle it. So as you're setting these goals for yourself, as you're sitting down to write down your 1 pillar focus, choose between 3 and 10 daily habits that all apply under that 1 pillar focus. So now for my health clients, my Healthy and Happy program, we work on 10 healthy habits because they have a beautifully built-in support system. I can guarantee those results so we can push it to the next level. But if this is the first time you're doing this, if you are working on something that you've been struggling with for a long time, start with 3. Please, please start with 3. Don't set yourself up to fall down the stairs over and over and over again and take on 89 things like I did. Start with 3. Pick 3 simple daily things you can do starting today and watch and see how massively different your life is within just 2 months. It's absolutely incredible. So by using this 1, 2, 3 habit system, your 1 pillar focus, harnessing your 2 superpowers over 2 months to form 3 daily habits, you go from this spaghetti bowl picture on the left here, this crazy crossroad, wild system of all of these things going on in your mind where you're thinking over here and over there and over here and over there. And you go into a predictable pattern. Your brain absolutely loves patterns and it is constantly searching for patterns. So if you creating habits in your life every 2 months becomes a pattern, you creating these 3 daily habits every day for those 2 months becomes a pattern. You go from this crazy spaghetti bowl mayhem to an absolutely predictable, perfect circle that will just keep repeating itself over and over and over again. That is how you unlock the power that you already have within you. You have everything you need to succeed. You just need to learn how to use it. And then you need to use it. So that's my story. That's how I got this thing to work in my life. But this doesn't mean anything. This whole story, this last 30 minutes of your life doesn't matter if you don't use it. I'm grateful that you're here and I'm grateful that you listened to my story and gave me the opportunity to share it. But it doesn't mean anything unless you apply it. So what's your story going to be? What are you going to work on today? Sit down, write down your pillars. If you can't think of which one is most important, write down a bunch of them. It's okay. Have a brainstorm session. Sit down and write down all the things you want in your life, all the things that you want to work on, all the areas that you want to improve. And then read back over them. One of them will stick out more than the others. Maybe there's several on there that apply to one part of your life. Maybe you have several different parts of your mental health that will be on that list. Maybe several parts of your education. Maybe several parts of your business, or maybe several parts of your parenting life. One of these habits is going to, or one of these pillars is going to stick out to you. So start with that one. Know that you can absolutely get to those others. Like I said before, I did this program. You can do it for 2 months. So you can do it 6 times over the period of a year. In the next 2, 6, 12 months, what are you going to do that is going to lead to a lifetime of difference? Think about 2 months from now. 2 months from now, if you were to start today to work on 3 simple daily habits in 2 months, where would you be? What would be different? Now sit down and read over that pillar, look at that pillar, focus on it, and come up with 3 simple tasks that you can do. This often is the part where people get stuck on because there's so many options and they're like, oh, I don't know which one is the best one. It doesn't have to be the best one. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just want you to start. Beginning is always better than the best. The beginning versus the best. Start today. Pick your 3 habits and start them today. And then track them every single day for 2 months. I'm coming up with an app that hopefully I can help you do that right now, but it's not ready yet. So just write it down. Write down 3 things, put them in a spreadsheet. Write down 3 things you want to work on and track those things for 60 days. And just watch as they become automated in your life. It's absolutely fascinating. And you can apply this to anything. Relationships, finances. I mean, I could go over that list again, but I won't. Ask yourself, What pillars of your life can you elevate in the next 2 months, 6 months, 12 months? I have a client right now that just went through the program. She's gone through it 3 times now, so she's done it for 6 months. She started with her mental health, then she started a business, and then she grew her business. Within 6 months, she completely changed 3 massive parts of her life. 6 months. In 6 months from now, what parts of your life will be different because of 3 simple habits that you started today? How are you going to find happiness right now? That's the other piece of the puzzle, is if you are tracking these things daily, oftentimes we think, oh, I might have done it yesterday, or I'll count this or whatever. But if you physically write it down and use it like a checklist, you'll be able to look back and think to yourself, okay, I am doing better than I thought. I am actually making this thing happen. And you're going to create confidence within yourself. So I highly encourage you to write this stuff down, put it somewhere that you'll see it every single day, and make this a priority in your life. It will make you happy right here, right now in the life you have. The subtitle of my book is to helping people to find happiness in the life that you have right now, while at the same time, you subconsciously build the life of your dreams. It's absolutely fascinating what you can do if you just start today. So start today. 1, 2, 3, happiness, habits, health, well-being, education, all of those things are truly as simple as 1, 2, 3, but you've got to start today. If health is your top priority, if this is something that you want more of in your life, I have a free week-long workshop to give you a preview of one of my 10 health habits. If you would like access to that, this website down here is for you. Subscribepage.com/free habit. You can also find this on my website, which is livelifeconscious.com. And of course, if you want to find more information like this, more stories, more habits, I've got a podcast called the Habits and Humor Podcast. You can check that out. And yeah, livelifeconscious.com is my website, and Habits and Humor is my podcast. So you can find lots more stuff about all of these kinds of things and different habits in your life by accessing those 2 places. All right, you guys, thanks for being here today. And I hope that was very helpful for you. And I hope that you actually take action. That's such a crucial piece of the puzzle that so many of us are missing so much of the time. Lots of us will learn about this stuff. Lots of you are going to watch this video and then walk away. I don't want that to be you. Make sure that's not you. Watch this video and then do it. Actually do it. Put it into your life. Sit down, write your first 1, 2, 3, and then make it happen. Thanks, you guys.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Suzi. Like, that was awesome.
Thanks, Missy.
And, I just want everyone to know that this, comes from, working, obviously I already said I've been working with Suzi, but we did a survey back last year sometime from our alumni, asking them, hey, what are the benefits? What are the things that you want from your alumni association? And one of those was just added benefits, added access, added things to our lives to help us and to do things. And so that's where that comes from. This comes from. So I hope that you guys, again, enjoyed this with Suzi, and yes, that you will take advantage of this, very expert advice. I, was kind of fell in love with Suzi as soon as I met her, because I was like, you're real. Like, you're a real person. Like, you're not just somebody trying to make money off of me. Like, this is like real. And how much more real is it that her son was in here with us? Like, she truly is a mom first. She truly is a real person. She means what she says. And I love that about Suzi. And so, thank you,
Missy. That means a lot. I appreciate that.
Here. Yes. So you can reach out to Suzi. She had showed her contact information. You can reach out to me. I can connect you with Suzi. Everyone should have my contact information as well. So if y'all have trouble with that, please let me know. But I highly encourage you to take her advice and get healthy and happy this summer. So thanks again. Thanks for everyone who joined us. And if y'all have any questions, y'all reach out.
Thank you.